Yeah, okay, if you're ready, you probably know the drill. Simply start at the beginning when you get into veganism and how you get into it, and then what happened, maybe if you had any health issues and how it all
Yeah,
unfolded. Yeah, okay.
yeah, cool. So starting now is good.
Yeah.
All right, so for me, kind of my pathway into veganism started like at a really early age. I was one of those kids that was physically very active and very strong, muscular and athletic, but I always had issues, strep throat, digestional issues. I was allergic to bugs and grass and all sorts of foods and was just always having some type of skin issue growing up. By the time I got into college, I was full on party animal, fast food junkie, coffee junkie. I was playing college sports and just living a gnarly lifestyle. And my health went from looking okay with having the kind of last mentioned issues, boom, exploded. And by the time I was 23, 24, I was fully covered in eczema and dermatitis, psoriasis, rosacea. I had irritable bowel syndrome. I had arthritis in my joints. I was an absolute mess. And like a lot of people, what I did is I started doing research. I started reaching out to people. And for me, I found things like the Gershon Institute, the people that work with people that have cancer using like juicing and enemas to help them reverse their cancer. I found all sorts of like counterculture, natural healing, natural hygiene, water fasting, 80-10-10, vegan raw food. I found that whole scene and it made sense to me. Okay, you eat, all plants and they're very catabolic in nature and they remove disease from your body. And to some degree, to be totally honest with you, I still believe that plants are extremely catabolic because they are, and they do remove cells and lots of crap from the body. But at that time, I was like, I have to do something about my skin. I have to do something about my health issues. Doctors aren't helping me. They're just giving me steroid creams and pills, and I got to do something. So that's what I did. I went kind of the high carb, low fat, lots of raw, lots of cleansing, vegan system. And in all honesty, it worked awesome for me. Like my first year, I went through a hell transforming my body, reversing the disease. And then about a year deep, I finally cured myself. That was 6 years ago. And then for that first year after, I felt great. I felt amazing. For the next year after that, I also felt pretty darn amazing. Going into year 4, 5, 6, I've been vegan for 8 years, and I've been cured from all my diseases for 6 years. Now we got to go into about 4 years deep into being vegan, and that's when I started to notice some degeneration in my body. Up until that point, it was pretty good. I mean, I felt better than I'd felt previous. I was able to stay lean, relatively muscular, a little less muscular than I thought I should be with the amount of weights I lift and the amount of movement I do, but I wasn't worried about that. My skin was healthy. My digestion was feeling good. So I was rolling with it. And around that time, about 6 years ago, I started my YouTube channel, just started throwing up videos about my journey and about my skin health. And the channel grew and grew and grew. I started creating protocols and cleanses and diet plans and really focused on skin health, not so much veganism, and especially not the ism part of it, but the vegan diet was a part of what I use as a tool. Then, like I said, 4 years into that, having a successful YouTube channel, teaching the methods. First thing, my teeth. The whole time on this diet, I was obsessive about keeping my teeth ultra clean, ultra healthy, going to the dentist, flossing after meals, brushing after meals. And every time I went to the dentist, I was either having a root canal or a cavity or some type of weird infection, or my gums were receding. There was always mouth issues, no matter how hard I tried to keep up on it. And especially the last 2 years went from being very focused on oral hygiene to being literally obsessed. Every meal, flossing, brushing, mouthwash 3 to 6 times a day, and my teeth keep getting worse and worse and worse. Every dentist I went to across the board, and I'm including like vegan hippie dentists, they all said, you can't eat a sugar diet and expect your teeth to be healthy, period. It doesn't matter how much your mouth is healthy with hygiene. If you're eating those foods, especially like me, I was eating a ton of grains and a ton of fruit. I couldn't keep up with it. So that was one thing. That was one of the main things that I was like, this is showing signs of going in the wrong direction right now. So that was a major issue. Secondly, like I kind of said, and I wasn't too worried about this at the time, but I like to look at the biomarkers of my body to see if I'm headed in the right direction with all of the experimenting and all the health stuff I do. So what I noticed is three main areas on my body seem to be strangely not responding to my macros or my workouts. And it was like my lower stomach always had like a weird fermentation thing going on. Like I'd have like abs and then like a little swollen lower belly, which I never had before in my life, and which now is completely gone. I mean, it's gone. My shoulders, my chest, my traps, despite lifting a lot, they just weren't changing at all. And not that that's a big deal. It's not that I was like, oh, I need bigger biceps and shoulders to be cool or to look good or to be sexy. But it was like, when you're eating perfect and you're moving your body and lifting weights in a very smart way, your body should show the results. If it doesn't, to me, that means that there's something hormonally off, something off with your workout plan, or just you're not eating the right foods. So that was another thing that kind of started to really make me check my diet. Because I'm not afraid to take moral inventory. Am I doing things right? How do I actually feel? And when I started being really honest with myself around my teeth, around my physical appearance, another thing is my skin started going more gray. And the first few years as a vegan, whole food, plant-based, my skin, the color was really nice. And my eyes seemed to be a little brighter. But that started degenerating too. The hair on my face, the hair on my head went from the auburny red that it normally is, just getting like a little dull, and my face a little gray. The greens of my eyes started losing the light in them as well. And again, these are just physical things, but they show that something is going on inside of you that's not right. So that was kind of the physical stuff that was going on. Now I also have like the mental stuff that's going on. I was starting to experience a lot of ups and downs emotionally and with my ability to focus and concentrate. It was like when I was carved up, I felt great. And then an hour later, I was just feeling low and tired. Whereas now, I mean, I can eat once a day if I feel like it. And my mental acuity and my focus is just always there. Some other strange things that started happening to me were complete lack of interest in food. All of the vegan high carb foods that I was eating, they stopped appealing to me completely. Rice, disgusting. It started tasting disgusting to me. Quinoa, beans, all started not tasting good. My appetite was completely gone. And I was starting to literally fantasize and crave protein like never before. And it wasn't like what a few people have commented to me, oh, you just felt like a cheeseburger, so you quit the vegan diet. And it's like, dude, I had enough discipline to eat perfect for 8 years. You think that McDonald's is going to sway me? Give me a freaking break. It was real cravings. It was my body thinking about eating huge amounts of protein. So, of course, what I did as a vegan was, okay, I upped my tofu, I upped my beans. I experimented with a few vegan protein powders. And again, that made me feel worse and worse and worse. The more fiber-rich protein vegan sources I ate, I didn't feel good. So for me, what I noticed when I look back at my vegan career, my vegan time frame, I felt the best during three different parts of it. One, when I was water fasting, getting into ketosis, feeling that in my body and in my brain. I always gravitated towards water fasting because I felt so amazing. So I said, okay, I obviously do good with the ketosis. I also have done a ton of intermittent fasting throughout the years and always felt way better while I'm fasting intermittently than when I'm eating breakfast and eating all day on the high carb system. Also, when I would do juice cleanses, I started noticing towards the end, like within year 4 and 5, when I focused on green juices and no sugar, I felt a lot better than when I focused on things that had like carrots and sweet potatoes and apples. So all of this evidence was, I mean, you can read the writing on the wall. Most people can. It's pushing me towards a high fat, high protein diet. So what did I do? I did my best at first to stay vegan because, to be honest, the transition from where I was at to being carnivore or keto, it didn't make sense to me yet. You know what I mean? I was still in that place of feeling, man, guilty about eating meat a little bit, feeling like I'm betraying the followers that I've created and not wanting to confuse people. My whole goal in life is to help people reverse skin disease. I was in that hell before, and I know what it's like. And so I really focus on trying to do that. And part of what I was worried about going off the vegan diet was, is my followers going to be really confused? Are they going to understand that I'm creating more protocols for them and really experimenting to benefit them and myself? So that made it hard. It was a strange transition. I started off trying to do vegan keto, and that was just horrible. I mean, I did that for I think 2 weeks or so, maybe 3, and it just was horrible. And then salmon happened. I had my first bite of smoked salmon, wild caught, and it was like taking drugs. I mean, it really was. My pupils lit up. My body came alive. I ate a ton of it, and I heard you mention this before, especially on your early videos, and instantly I thought of you. It felt like I wasn't eating anything. I'm used to eating a huge portion of carbohydrates that you eat it, you get bloated, you get some gas. It's part of the digestion, no big deal. That's not normal for me anymore. That first salmon that I ate it, and I had so much energy. I felt so high. I felt so good. In my stomach, nothing was going on. It was like eating nothing but having all the energy and power. Backing up just a little bit, I have to mention this part of the story too, because it's really important. My kind of transition to keto and more of carnivore style wasn't solely based just on me and myself. I work with hundreds of people every year trying to help them fix their skin. And of course, I come into a lot of people that the whole food plant-based system will not work, or they're just like, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to. Please help me be high fat or keto and do the protocols. And what I was seeing over the past 2 years is that all the people that I worked with that we were going with the high fat, high protein, carnivore or keto style, they were healing like fast, like really fast. And it just came a time for me to be like, all right, I was wrong about this. I need to open my mind to this. I need to experiment with this. And I also need to share this information with the world, with my channel, with everybody. And that was probably a bigger thing that led to me doing this than even my own stuff. The results. People are getting results. People are healing, and you can't deny that. You know what I mean? And so that was another factor of which brought me over to the transition. I guess the story picks off at that first month after trying to do kind of the keto style vegan. Started doing things like raw pastured fertile eggs, wild-caught salmon, other wild-caught fish, wild elk, wild boar, whatever wild meats I could get my hands on. I was still a little afraid of beef and cow for a while, I will admit. I think that's part of like coming from 8 years as a vegan. I think it's pretty normal. I kind of still look at cows as like humans a little bit. But then that transitioned, with a lot of seafood and still eating like salads and chia seeds and almond milk. That went really well. I felt amazing right away. My body fat was already 11, 12% at most, started dropping, and my body weight started going up like right away. Strength in the gym went off the charts. Now 6 months deep into it, I'm about 11 pounds heavier and probably close to 3% less body fat. So physically, hormonally, it's been out of this world. And currently 6 months in, now I'm starting to pay attention to you guys eating all the raw meat and the liver and the brain and kind of the marrow, and I'm new to all of this, but I'm kind of getting to that place where it was mostly fish, and now I'm getting into all aspects of the carnivore world, and it's been nothing but positive so far. The first 2 weeks I did have a bit of a keto flu transition, and I didn't get sick or anything. I was just wiped out. I was tired. I felt lousy. I was just slow and kind of lethargic. But after that, it seriously has been really, really smooth, really, really fun, and the benefits have been amazing. What a lot of people are asking me is, oh, well, your skin looks the same or better. Have you had any backsliding with your skin health? And no, not at all. It's actually, I feel when I see pictures of myself or see myself on camera, I feel like I look healthier now. But that's, of course, subjective. Some people say, now that you eat meat, you look like a dumb pussy and you're an idiot. So
It's funny, man, because when I think about it, I'm pretty sure you're one of the people who actually got me into veganism. It could be. I'm not quite sure, but when I think about it, because I went vegan because I had eczema, and I was looking and I found your videos. You were drinking these huge glasses of juice and stuff. I remember all of this. Then I stopped watching your videos later when I wasn't vegan anyway. Yeah, it was funny how it goes.
It is. I find it funny too because, you, Veggie Police, Tristan over at Primal Edge Health, a few others. I almost think that the vegan diet is a good primer for the keto diet. I honestly do. Yeah. Of course, that's debatable, but it's I feel like it cleans you out, you know what I mean, and resets things. And I feel like the diet that we're both on right now is just so nourishing. And I think in a way it can be extremely disease reversal as well for certain people. But it's just funny, you, Tristan, Veggie Please, myself, we did the vegan thing, some of us for a long time. And then this kind of transition really exploded our health to a whole new level.
Mm. Did you also buy a lot of supplements as a vegan?
I went back and forth. So in the early days when I was kind of looking at YouTubers and trying to figure out the vegan thing, I first experimented with 80-10-10 and then high-fat raw vegan. When I was trying the high-fat raw vegan, I did do a lot of supplements, tons of supplements. And I hated them always. I've always hated taking supplements. They just never feel like food. They always mess my stomach and digestion up. And so I was eating a lot of them. And that was part of why I developed kind of the whole food plant-based system that I did that relies on no supplementation at all, except some real light stuff like vitamin B12 and maybe Trufala, something like that, just real basic herbs.
Okay. What do other people say that you quit veganism? Do you have any close friends or anybody like that, or who are still vegan maybe, who you get into veganism?
Yeah, I do. And for me, it's kind of funny because a lot of people are either they look at what I'm doing and they're really inspired and they're like, oh, dude, you're honest, good for you for experimenting. Or they're like, how dare you turn your back on the vegan community? You're a shill. You're an idiot. You're a jerk. My sister has really gnarly migraines, and she is someone who has kind of kept up on my work. And, she went vegan and whole food plant-based. And when I made the switch, she made the switch. She's also feeling a ton better. She was eating a ton of grains and beans, and now she's not eating any of that stuff. And her migraines have improved, and her physical body is also improved. She's a little stronger, a little leaner, feeling great. I've had some vegan friends who have asked why, and they wanted to know, what were your specific deficiencies? Can you please show us your lab results? And I'm like, no, I'm not. First of all, I don't really believe in lab results from people anyway. Those tests can be swayed by how much you slept the night before, what you ate for breakfast. So I don't really care too much about lab tests. but a lot of them say, what were your deficiencies? Was it zinc? Was it DHA? Was it amino acids? What do you think it was? Was it a creatine, a carnitine, a vitamin K? And I'm like, yeah, probably all of that. I don't know specifically, and I don't really care. Here's what I know. My body wasn't feeling the way that it used to feel. It was starting to go downhill. And something was really off, and it was getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Now those problems, those feelings are completely gone. The health of my mouth has gotten so much better just in the 6 months. Almost right away, it felt like the kind of like pain I would get and like the irritation from the sugars, that's gone. My gums, they went from like white pink to like red right away, like boom. And it feels like some of the deterioration and some of the kind of dark spots are easing up. Teeth are getting slightly whiter. So I'm excited to see where that goes. The digestion issues I was having, gone. The hormonal issues I was having, gone. It's just kind of like a whole new feeling in my body.
Mm. What about the animals? Were you also into the morals, or was it all about health?
That's a great question. So for me, it was kind of both. It was never, I got into veganism straight up to try to reverse skin disease and all the other elements in my body. I've always loved animals. I've always been a compassionate, empathetic person, but I didn't become a vegan to save the planet and save the animals. I've read enough research and understand that although the vegans will really diss me on this and they believe that it will help the environment, it's very debatable. Someone asked me, aren't you really sad about like having to kill and hurt animals? And I was like, the honest truth is that since I've been eating animals, I actually feel more humble and more gentle towards animals. I feel more respect towards them. And I feel like I understand the cycles of life and appreciate life even more. And I think the question too is like, do I support factory farms? No. Do I support animal abuse? Hell no. But do I support a human being who needs nutrition to go out and get a wild animal, eat the entire thing the way Native Americans do, the way primitive cultures do, and honor that animal and respect that animal and love that animal and love what it does for their health and their family? Yeah, I'm down with that. I get that. So for me, it was both. It was like, okay, cool, I'm doing something for my health. And it seems to be what people say is it helps the environment, and that feels good. And of course, I love animals. So I was happy to be a part of the vegan community for that part of it. But that was never, you'll never have seen anti-meat eater video on my YouTube. You're not going to see me like showing all like animals being slaughtered, and it was about health for me. The other benefit was, okay, cool, we're helping animals and saving animals.
Mm. What do you think is the future of veganism? Where is it heading?
Oh gosh, that's a really tough question. I can get in a lot of trouble answering that. Honestly, though, my opinion is that I think there's always going to be people for both health reasons and ethical reasons that believe that veganism is the path to go. And I say for those people, cool, do your thing, follow it with all your heart. Awesome, great. I think the movement will be alive. I think that the more and more people that have been vegan for more than a few years will kind of come to a place like we have where you start to see deficiencies, or you start to see it doesn't work at all for certain people. And I think that most people who are really paying attention and being honest with themselves, who are vegan long-term, are either going to make the adjustment to, one, stay vegan and somehow make it work, two, stay plant-based and add some amount of animal products like salmon and like pastured fertile eggs and feel okay about that. Or people like us who say, no, a bigger switch has to be made and they'll go for a primal diet or a keto diet or a carnivore diet. I don't know, man. I've always had a slightly weird kind of relationship with the vegan community. From the very beginning, I was always felt like not vegan enough. I'd reach out to some of like the cool vegan leaders, and they would always kind of diss me, to be honest. They always kind of, like my channel was never big enough or cool enough or vegan enough. So I kind of always was the not vegan enough guy. I was either, oh, you're eating potatoes and beans, so you're not raw enough, or, it's like, oh, you're dissing the fat. So it was hard. The community was a challenge for me to be a part of. I didn't feel like I ever fit in that well, but I didn't really ever care. Like I wasn't a fanboy of the vegan gurus. I thought that a lot of them were a total joke. And I looked at them and I said, there's no way I want to look like that. Hopefully I can make this vegan diet work for me and develop a different strain of it. And I have to say, I'm not here to really diss vegans. I think the vegan diet for a lot of people has its place and can be used to clean out the body. Worked really well for me for a certain amount of years. But veganism, that I don't understand. Here's the part that confuses me. And I've asked this question to some people over the past few days. If your mom was on her deathbed and she had the choice, die a horrible, painful death or eat salmon, you would want your mom to die a horrible death rather than eating salmon. I'm asking this to vegans, and a lot of them are like, under no circumstance would I ever have my mom or anyone I know eat salmon because it's killing an animal. It's abuse. And I'm like, okay, aren't humans animals? Aren't we human beings animals as well? And isn't not caring about humans not being vegan? So I find the whole thing slightly contradictory in certain ways, and their arguments kind of spin in circles. But I've also had some really great interactions with vegans too. They're like, hey man, I'm going to stay vegan. Hopefully you give us some vegan protocols that are keto, but good luck to you and best of luck. And it's like, hey, those people that are open-minded and let me do my thing, awesome. For the ones that are closed-minded and into the ism, I don't really care. I don't really worry about them.
Yeah, it's just very hard for them to believe that salmon could cure anything. That's the whole problem. They just can't imagine that animal products could be healthy. So it's really hard to
Right.
start a conversation about it. I get it.
Yeah, they're totally closed off to it, and a lot of them have used my own old videos and my own comments against me. Like in this video, you said oil was bad and should never eat oil, and I'm like, yeah, but take it into context. On a high carb, low fat system, oil's poison because you can't mix sugar and fats. It's basic. Now that I'm on a fat-based diet, of course oils are fine because there's no sugar to interact with. So kind of like having to dismay the confusion a little bit has been challenging, but it's like that's part of the work that I have to do. And I think there's a lot of people like us, like Veggie Police, who are vegan, who are open-minded, and who are really looking to whatever they need to do to heal their bodies. They're going to want to do, and that's how I am, and that's how I will always be.
Hmm.
If 8 years ago you would have told me, hey Rob, I figured out how to cure skin disease, and you have to eat, donkey hair and drink mud water, and that's it, I would have eaten donkey hair and mud water for the rest of my life and been totally happy. No problem.
Yeah. Did you try any animal products at all before you tried the salmon in all of those years, or were you completely vegan?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, there was a few circumstances over that time where I nibbled on some stuff. It was never anything a lot. There was one circumstance that I shared when I ate this thing called a runza, which is it's like a meat sauerkraut pocket croissant. My
Hmm.
mom makes them, and she used to make vegan ones for me and then meat ones for the rest of the family. I grabbed the wrong box at her house. I went downstairs. I started eating it. It tasted so good. I didn't know why it tasted so good. I felt super high from it.
Yeah.
Again, my pupils dilated. I felt like energy and testosterone in my body. And I ate like 6 or 7 of them, and then
Oh, no.
later found out that I'd eaten the wrong ones, and instantly was like, oh, I felt guilty. I worried, am I going to have like digestion issues? Is eczema going to pop back up? Nothing happened. I felt fine. My gut felt fine. But the food did taste amazing, and I did literally feel really high from it.
Hmm.
And and I've heard you talk about this a lot. I think one of the funny aspects, or one of the things that is confusing, and I'm guilty of this, in the past for sure is like protein doesn't matter. The body doesn't need protein. All you people, 50 to 60 grams of protein per day for a man, that's plenty. I don't agree with that at all anymore at all. My body needs protein. I'm the same descendant as you. I'm Swedish and Viking, and our ancestry has eaten fish forever, and meat and fats forever. As soon as I started eating it again, my body knew how much it wanted. It knew the amounts that I wanted. It auto-regulated itself, and I'm probably taking in at this point somewhere between 130 and 160, maybe even more grams of protein per day. And all the things that people said high amounts of protein would do, completely BS. My kidneys are great. My digestion is better than ever. My energy levels are awesome. My skin's great. And I'm putting muscle on and adding weight in the gym pretty much easily now.
Yeah. Is there anything specific you would like to say to vegans who are watching? Anything important that you think they should hear? Maybe some experience, something?
Yeah, I think the main thing I would say to vegans watching is, if you are vegan and you are vegan for ethics and ethics only, you can turn the video off. I have nothing to say to you. I get that. That's where your heart is. That's where your soul is. Best of luck to you. I don't know if it's going to work for your health, but I get that. That's not where I'm at. I would say to vegans who are vegan for primarily health reasons only is, if it's working for you now, awesome. Keep paying attention to your biomarkers and don't be dishonest with the way that your body is reacting and responding. When it's time to make a change, make a change. And I honestly view the vegan diet and the vegan system as a disease reversal protocol, not as a forever diet for most people. I think there'll be some people that can get away with like a plant-based diet long-term if it has some amount of animal products in it, and they could probably be fine. But I think that there's also a huge majority of people that, due to digestional issues, are just going to do much better on high protein, high fat. The one thing I would say to people is be open-minded. If you're a vegan, it means that you're at least thinking about your health, and you're thinking about the environment, and you're thinking about being good to humans and to animals. If you're that conscious, don't stop there. Open yourself up all the way. I am really into pushing the human species forward. And I think what that's going to take is people like you and people like me talking to vegans and finding that place where we agree upon stuff, or we agree to disagree. But I think the issue with most vegans is that they're throwing rocks from a glass house. And what I mean by that is some of the promoters, and I won't name any names right now, but I'll just give you an example. You have several people last year, and big YouTubers, raw, vegan, high-fat YouTubers say, gained 60 pounds of muscle on my raw vegan diet. And they showed their before and after, and they're skinny fat. They haven't gained 1 centimeter of muscle. They've just gotten more bloated in their stomachs, a huger fermentation pocket. No muscle, but more skinny fat. And I think that as long as people put people like that on a pedestal and don't call people out for that type of BS, the vegan community will continue to be all over the place. I don't know. I wish all human beings well. I wish all people to find balance and health in their life. Vegans, non-vegans, ethical vegans, carnivore people. I think that we could all do good. And I'm guilty of this in the past, of being defensive of having something that's working for me and believe in it and hold on tight to it and not allow anyone else to have success or do their thing. I think if we're more open to listening to each other, sharing our experiences without judgment, I think everyone will be better off, vegans and non-vegans.
Did you also believe the whole acid alkaline thing? And if so, do you still believe it or what?
Yeah, so I'm kind of a weird person. Like, I believe in a lot of the science, but I also don't believe in science at all. Mm-hmm. I believe in, like, you experiment and you get results on yourself or with people, and that experience, and that data is by far the most important thing. The whole alkalizing acidic thing, the research and science that I've read is you can't change the alkalinity of your blood. It doesn't happen. You're not going to change the alkalinity of your small and large intestine, your rectum, your colon, your gut, your stomach. It doesn't happen. Are there foods that are more alkaline than others? Yeah. If you eat a ton of alkaline foods and you do a piss test, will it show your pee is slightly more alkaline? Yes. Do alkaline foods happen to be very catabolic and flush the body? Yes. But do I think that an alkaline diet heals all disease? I don't think there is such thing as an alkaline diet. So no, I don't really believe in that aspect of it at all. And also, I did believe that eating foods like meat and dairy caused the mucoid plaque buildup, and that the mucoid plaque is like a devastating issue. And I still believe that, but all of the research that I've ever found, all of Dr. Greger's research, all of the vegans' research, if you look at the stuff they're looking at, it doesn't talk about natural foods. It talks about factory farmed, hormone, antibiotic rich, crappy foods. All the egg studies are normal caged eggs, not pastured, fertile, raw eggs. All of the meat studies are done on lunch meats and antibiotic grain-fed beef. That's not the same. It's just not the same. So I think that science has got a long way to go. I think that I'm more into pushing people into their own personal sovereignty, like take responsibility for your actions, for your research, and for your experimentation. Be honest with yourself. And science is cool. I read it and research it all the time, but it's not the end all be all.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, man, for sharing your story.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. And like I said before we got started, thanks for doing what you're doing. You're a brave dude. And honestly, one of the big reasons why I went to the diet that I was on was I've watched you. I've watched you go from a vegan and getting out of the mental hospital and looking like absolute crap to getting better color, better teeth, more muscular every month, every year. Like the proof is in the pudding. Your coloring looks great. Your hair's grown long. You've put on a ton of muscle. Your teeth are looking so much better, looking nice and white and clear. And it's like the proof is in the pudding. So I want to thank you for having me on and for doing what you do too. And I just want to say good luck to everyone out there that's on a health journey. We're all on a health journey. I think if we're more open, we can all create a funner community of seekers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well said.